religion is very important for a country. I think having this country was built largely on religion. If you look, it was built so. And when you have strong religion, you have less crime. It's just a fact. You know, whatever it may be, it's like, gee, I want to go to heaven, so I'm not going to do this or that. Who knows? But we have a country that was based on religion, and I'm very proud of that. And if you look and you see all of the polling, I mean, polling is so fake. But on this, it's not fake. Religion is really going up in the last year. And during the time, I mean, really during the time I first got elected in 2016, it's a much different thing. I'm very proud of that. Religion is a good thing. Christianity, it's a great thing for our country. I mean, so many of the things that we've done, the successes that we've had have been based on Christianity and religion. So I'm very proud of that. Religion is taking off like our country is taking off. Our country's hotter now than it's ever been, and I'll tell you, religion is making a tremendous comeback. You look at churches today, they're full. You go back 2-3 years, nobody was going. So we're very happy with it.
What do you think about the hate crime that we see happening?
Yeah. No, I'm always concerned. I see things happening. Look, from the beginning of mankind, you've had that. You've had the good and you have the bad. I'd like to get rid of the bad, but somehow that's going to be there. But the good has been many times what it was. Really many times what it was.
If Congress wants to $1 billion for your security funding, would you be willing, or would you be willing to go to your donors to ask for that money?
Well, this is money for the whole premises, including the East Wing. This is the East Wing section. But the ballroom is, as you see, it's going up. It's ahead of schedule. It's larger because they wanted more military capacity. They wanted more drone capacity. They needed a larger roof. And frankly, we needed a larger facility. And so we're doing that. And we've done this in strict coordination with the military and with the Secret Service. And they've been great to work with. The money that they're talking about is the surrounding areas and maybe enhancing some security aspects of the building. But the building, as you see, it's a very active site. And a lot of people are amazed. And by the way, that floor goes down 3 floors, just so you understand. You're seeing almost the top floor. That floor goes down 3 floors, and there are many things in there having to do with security. And many of those things are going to be taken from there and put onto the roof of the building. And that has to do with drone and missile capacity.
A lot of presidents have done renovations to the White House, to all these things. Why do you think people are so mad about your renovations?
Because I'm doing it.
The Meridian Hill Park, you got the water flowing again, all of it. And they just seem to hate you for it.
It's a sad thing, actually. You know, it's very nice. I appreciate the question. First I said, oh, this is going to be a negative question. Then I heard she's really saying, why do they hate you for fixing the water fountains? So, you know, we have 40, I know, because I want to see Washington be beautiful. To me, it's very important. But as an example, you mentioned the water fountain. We didn't have one water fountain, I think we have 40. We didn't have one in Washington that worked. And soon they'll all be working. Many of them work right now. And I think one of the best things, President Obama, President Biden spent much more than $100 million on the reflecting lake between the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument. They spent much more. They spent, some people say, $200 million. You know what they got out of it? A closed lake. It never opened. And when it did, it shut right away. It leaked. It was a disaster. I'm doing a job on the reflecting lake for a fraction of what they paid. Now, I've upgraded it I got so into it, I've upgraded it like you wouldn't believe. I'm doing all the walkways outside. I'm doing it properly. But it's a much bigger job. But you see it's happening now. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be waterproof. It's going to be reflecting again. I took over a dirty, filthy thing that wasn't open, and it was disgusting. And friends of mine would come to the Lincoln or the Washington and they'd say, sir, it's disgusting. I said, what's disgusting? The reflecting lake. So I drove down, I looked with Secretary Burgum, who's fantastic, of Interior. He's fantastic. And we got together. And we have, it's under construction right now. I want to get it open before July 4th, which we'll easily be able to do. It'll be open before that, but easily be able to do the July 4th being a very special day. And it is going to be beautiful. Beautiful blue color, dark blue color. It's very reflective. I put a thing out yesterday showing the reflection. We did a little test. We wanted to see it. It's unbelievable.
How did
It's like a mirror.
Did it look good? Did it
Well,
work?
it's like a mirror. It's beautiful.
And I saw there was guys out there almost like, are they hand painting it? Is that how they're doing it?
Yeah, well, they're fixing the
All right,
stone
for the
outside.
last about half hour, President Trump has been entertaining the press with and taking questions from them, informing them. The backdrop there, of course, is the East Wing and the construction there. He was going through all of that, but he made some news on Iran as well, and also a little domestic politics here.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now.
Money and donors' money. This is tax-free. So everyone's talking about they're going to give money, they're going to give money. The money they're going to give is really for the security of that and the whole White House premise. And I guess you probably need that nowadays. We've done the fencing on the outside of the White House. It's all titanium. You see the black fencing. That's been just done recently. And it was approved originally by me, and it's been completed, and it's very powerful. Very powerful. A tractor, a bulldozer cannot knock it over. It goes down deep, and it's titanium, which is the strongest of all of the metals. Much stronger than steel, as an example. The ballroom is all, it's going to be a tremendous thing. As an example, what happened a couple of weeks ago at the White House Correspondents' Center could not happen here. One thing that we have is we don't have people living above it. We don't want that. That's no good. They have 1,000 units above it with the elevator coming right down next to where the convention or whatever it may be is. So this is a room that's been wanted for 150 years by presidents. We have no room to have an event. The only way you can have an event is if you build a tent on the lawn, and the tent would not do the job. And by the way, if it rains here, because this is built on a wetland, the lawn is impossible to deal with. The water goes over everybody's shoes. It literally goes over the shoes. So, and they've had a lot of catastrophes with the tent. So we have this, and if you take a look at this section, this is the different facade. So this is a Greek. More or less, it comes out of Greece. This is the ultimate facade for Greece. This faces the Treasury Building. This is a different facade. That's Rome. And that faces the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, etc. So you have two facades. Primarily, you have two entrances. You have here, you have here. But the primary entrance is through the White House, directly through the White House. And it's really something. I think you can see the complexity. All of these columns go directly up to the roof. And the roof is a barrier. It's a shield because it's made out of, the sidewalls are steel, impenetrable steel, and also impenetrable glass. The glass is approximately 4 inches thick. And yet it's amazing. You can see through it as though it didn't exist. It's amazing. And it can stop just about anything. Just about anything. On the other side of the glass, we have steel and concrete. So that the glass is very powerful. What's holding the glass is equally as powerful. And that's here. You can see they're just about ready to go up to the top. All of these columns, they go directly right to the roof of the building. And again, we call it a drone port. It's set up for unlimited numbers of drones. Purposely, we don't have any air conditioning equipment up there because we don't want anything coming down through the pipes. If anybody gets, normally you'd have a lot of air conditioning equipment on the roof. We built it all inside the building, inside the case of the building, because we don't want to have anything having to do with air or air quality or any problems playing with the air. So you'll notice it's a dead flat roof with no equipment on it. All of the equipment is inside of the building, and that's for safety reasons. Normally you'd do it a lot less expensive expensive. You do it a different way. So all of this was paid for by myself, and because I keep hearing like, we are making a gift of this book. This is a gift. This is not going to be paid for by the taxpayer. We have a judge that thinks it's a terrible thing that we're making a gift. He said it's terrible that we're making a gift. It should be paid for by the taxpayer. That's one I've never heard before. I'm sure maybe, I don't know, maybe he doesn't understand. This is a gift to the United States of America. And more than a gift, it's going to be one of the most beautiful buildings that's ever been built in the country or in Washington, D.C. So here's the other facade. See over here. And again, this is taken, these great classical buildings, they're taken out of different parts of the world from very glamorous times. This is Rome. They like the flat roof. Greece likes they call it the triangles, and you see that. This is a porch that looks out over the city. Also, it's developed in such a way that we can have military there, but the entire roof is developed for military. They're very high. They're higher than just about anything else. They have a 360-degree vision of Washington, D.C. They have a massive drone capacity. Not only is it drone-proof, if a drone hits it, it bounces off. It won't have any impact. But it's also meant as a drone port, so it protects all of Washington, the roof of the building. Okay? Now, does anybody have any questions? If you want, you can take, I think you can bring your camera down, but you might want to take a look at the complexity. These are all different rooms out here. They're building a hospital. They're building, it's a military hospital. They're building all sorts of research facilities, also meeting rooms and rooms that go hand in hand for the military, using the ballroom. And the ballroom is really a shield and protecting all of the things.
Man, shout out to Donald Trump, man, for giving them a gift. That shit was a gift, man. Why y'all tripping, bro? Shout out to Donald Trump, man, for giving the United States a gift, man. We appreciate you, boy.
Built here. This goes, as you see, it's already up to the ground. This goes down very deep. You get a better view right over here. This is down, because we've already done these floors. But these are already down 2 floors. It's down about 6 stories deep. That's big stuff. Normally, when you build a ballroom, you build it flat. You just build a ballroom. It would have been built. The complexity of this, and again, it's all knit. It's all knit together between the drone proofing, the missile proofing. We have, and the drone capacity upstairs. We can have all sorts of military up. Whether I hate to use the word snipers, but we have great sniper capacity. It's built for our snipers, not the enemy snipers, our snipers. And because of the height, we get a very clear view of everything all over Washington. Yeah.
Mr. President, you mentioned that this is being paid for not sponsored. But why is Congress
Well, they're not. Congress is approving. Yeah. Congress is approving money for security. It may go. Some of it may go here for additional security. I don't know. But Congress is approving money. But this building, I mean, I put up the money, built this building, along with a lot of great patriots. People have put up a lot of money to build the building, and we have a building that is going to be, I think it's going to be potentially the most beautiful building in all of Washington, and with that is great military capacity. We're building it in conjunction.
Hey, I think Trump probably got them illegal immigrants out there working. He was like, man, y'all build this building up for me. I'm going to give y'all freedom.
With the United States military and the Secret Service. Well, they have a budget in the Secret Service and the military to do some of the work that you see right here. So the answer is, I think they want to enhance what you see. It's very powerful. You see what's happening. It's very powerful concrete. It's 9,000-pound concrete. That, if you know anything about contract, it's very strong. It's very strong concrete. But they probably want to enhance the area. They're going to spend money. This is a very sacred piece of land. This is the White House, and they want to do things. But everything that you see as the money that's being put up to build the ballroom, and again, the ballroom, it's necessary for the ballroom to be built with what you see over here. It's all knit in. The air conditioning, the heating, the drone capacity, the shield. You know, the ballroom becomes a shield for everything that you see right here. Without that, they couldn't have this. They couldn't build the lower floors. Without that shield over the top of it, it's a shield that will totally protect what's downstairs. They have a lot of things going on downstairs. And some of it you see. This goes down 6 stories. You see 3 stories because it's already been built. This will be, very shortly, this will be in the form of just the roof goes along this line. Basically, it goes outside. You see where the wood is. You're going outside of that line, and then it goes straight up. And it's all protection, and everything's together. You can't build one without the other. And what we have is we have the safest building ever built, in my opinion. You can have, and you know, the other thing is, we're right on budget, we're right on plan. The only budget change would be that we doubled the size at the request of the military. We doubled the size, but we're right on budget, right on plan. And originally we were going to build a much smaller room, and it wouldn't have done the job. It just wouldn't have done the job. You have too many events. Like if we have President Xi coming here, we have no place to put him. We had the King and the Queen the other day, and we had 1,000 people wanted, and we ended up having 100 people sitting in a very small room. So they've been after this for a long time, but maybe more important is the safety element. This is a shield. It protects everything that's inside, everything that's on top. And you know, obviously the White House was built in 1792. It's awfully hard to. It's awfully hard to do that kind of a capacity that we did here. So this will give future presidents, but you have to understand, when this is finished, my term ends shortly after that. This is really for other presidents. This is not for me. This is my gift to the United States of America. I'm going to be able to use it very little, because when it's finished, we're talking about 6 or 7 months. But it will be used for hopefully hundreds of years for other presidents. And there will never be anything like this built again. There'll never be a room built like with the safety. As an example, if we had the White House Correspondents' Dinner here, would have been no problem.
Sir, you said that this will be open, but it'll open 6, 7 months. Have you that around that time? What about the first event?
I have. I better not tell you about that, Danny. But yeah, we have. Everybody wants to be here for the first event. We're talking about heads of nation. So we have some very special places that it could happen. You know, we had literally the King and Queen were.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
We would have had an event that would have been 10 times the size. I mean, we literally were in a little room at the White House. Presidents, now we're not even talking about safety. Presidents have been asking for this literally from the time the White House has been built. But on record, for 150 years, they've said, what about a big room? And you all know, you probably attended, they have some where they use tents.
If you got hit, even if you were not driving.
And you all know, you probably attended, they have some where they use tents. If it rains, it's a disaster. Yeah. We have to have a safe country. We have to have a great country. We have to make sure that Iran doesn't get a nuclear weapon. All of the things that you see me fighting for so hard. And it's always tough. You know, we're negotiating with Iran, and then you have the Democrats, I call them the Democrats, putting in a bill that Trump should immediately stop. You know how it is to negotiate with a country where you're beating them badly. They come to the table, they're begging to make a deal, because they're begging to make a deal. I hope we don't have to do the one, but we may have to give them another big hit. We may have to give them another big hit. I'm not sure yet. You'll know very soon. How do you feel when you negotiate? You're winning every point, and they say, but in Washington, they want to stop you from negotiating. They want to stop you, and it's only political. It's the Democrats. They're dumb. It's a new name. It's a very accurate name. So I'm in the middle of a negotiation. I'm saying you cannot have a nuclear weapon, and it comes over the wire that the Democrats want to stop Trump from further negotiations. They want to stop Trump from, if he has to, giving them another slap. They want to have a nuclear weapon to blow up the Middle East and to blow up, frankly, the world. It's not going to happen.
Mr. President,
Nice to see you, buddy.
how close were you striking right?
I was an hour away. We were all set to go. You're talking about yesterday.
Yes.
We were going to be striking it would have been happening right now. Yeah, it was all done. The boats, the ships are all loaded. They're loaded to the brim. And we were all set to start.
Mr. President, did both
They said that they feel they've had for the first time in almost 47 years. You know, Iran's been the bully of the Middle East for 47 years. I mean, literally the bully of the Middle East. And they're nasty, very nasty, very dangerous. They wanted a nuclear weapon. Had I not terminated Barack Hussein Obama's Iran nuclear deal, had I not terminated it, see, that's the win. That can't happen with the real structure.
on Cuba, what do you want to see from
You're talking about Cuba? Well, we're going to see. Look, Cuba's calling us. They need help. Look, Cuba is a failed nation. Cuba needs help. And we'll do that. Just hold them. It's like an exercise game. Give that to me. I'll hold it. I'll hold it. It's so beautiful. See, I look so thin. They'll say, oh, he's gotten so thin because I'm holding this. You don't have to look at my waist. You can look at this. You saw enough of my waist along with President Xi.
Are you confident that you can reach a
With Cuba? I think so. Yeah, I think so. I am very prone toward the Cuban Americans. They've been incredible people. Many of them have lost family members. They've been very badly hurt themselves. They've been in prison. They've come to this country and they've been very successful. The Cuban American people in Miami, I mean, they are amazing people. Most of them are in Miami, in Florida, but mostly in Miami. I'm very, very prone to helping them. I mean, I think I got 97% of that vote. I want to help them. Now, they have family members in Cuba. They've been treated very, very badly. They've been treated extremely badly, and we're going to get that solved. That's not going to be hard for us to solve.
You can do that without
Well, I don't know about changing the regime. I could do that, whether you change the regime or not. You know, it's been a rough regime. They've killed a lot of people, but it's a country that really needs help. It has nothing. They can't turn on the lights. They can't eat. We don't want to see that.
Mr. President, how much notice did the Gulf nations have? How much notice did the Gulf nations have that you were going to these straits before they asked you to pause?
They called me over the last 2 days to say they made a lot of progress because we have them negotiating with us, and primarily Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, a little bit, Bahrain, and some of the others. And we have them negotiating with them. We're all working together. It's like a team. And Israel, of course, and Israel's been a great partner. And so we are negotiating together. I got a call from numerous of these people. They know the people in Iran. Don't forget, when you talk about regime change, I think it's the ultimate regime change because the first level and the second level are no longer with us. They're someplace, but they're no longer with us. So we have real regime change. But I got a call yesterday, sir, could you wait? We think we're close to a deal. And that's okay. Now, I've heard it before with these people, and they change their mind. I made deals with them, no nuclear. We immediately get the nuclear to us. And they said, you're the only one can get it because the bombers did such an unbelievable job that the mountain literally collapsed on top of it. They said us, and they thought China would be the only two countries that could even get it. But I think it's important to get it, maybe psychologically more than anything.
Mr. President, today is
No. How long did they know that you were planning? The Gulf nations.
They knew I was getting ready to attack. I didn't tell them. I never tell anybody when.
You're constant contact?
I never tell anybody when, but they knew that we were very close. I would say I was an hour away from making the decision to go today. And we would probably not be talking about a beautiful ballroom today. We'd be talking about that. And no, I had made the decision. So they called up. They had heard I made the decision. They said, "Sir, could you give us a couple of more days because we think they're being reasonable."
Mr. President, today's
Well, I mean, I'm saying 2 or 3 days, maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something, maybe early next week, a limited period of time. Because we can't let them have a nuclear weapon. If they had a nuclear weapon, they would start with Israel. They would blow it up. And they would blow it up fast. But they'd blow it up. And I'll tell you why. They go after Saudi Arabia. They go after Kuwait. They go after UAE. They go after Qatar. They go after, I think they go after the entire Middle East. And it would be a whole different negotiation. It would not be, it would be nuclear holocaust. And there's no question in my mind that they'd use it. There's no question. And I deal with these people. They're extremely radicalized. These are not people like when I deal with you. You're a very nice guy. These are people that are seriously radicalized. They would use it. The only question, would it be the first minute, the first hour, or the first day?
To what they
Need
got
backup?
nuclear.
Open a Chime checking account in minutes. Get overdraft coverage up to
Yeah, tell
for fixing the water fountains. So, you know, we have
You're the president.
we have
construction
40. I
worker.
know. I want because I want to see Washington be beautiful. To me, it's very important. Example, you mentioned the water fountain. We
Don't buy that camera that's going viral to keep burglars away. For only $22 a month, I got a premium home security system. All I did was answer questions on this website. I got it all set up and running.
Lebanon, Gaza, Yemen.
Soothe relations. Secretary Hegseth called Poland's defense minister today, and according to a post on X, said U.S. commitment to Poland's defense and security remain unchanged. The decision has unnerved allies. Today, we learned the vice chairman of the Joint Chiefs will soon visit Poland. Trace?
Jennifer Griffin, live for us in D.C. Jennifer.
President of the United States with a lot of information in just the last few comments there. I want to start with, if I left today, meaning the military that he's led into battle there from the air in Iran, he said, if I left today, it would take Iran 25 years to build back. And of course, that would be the military targets that we have taken out. But he says, quote, we're not leaving. We're going to do it right. So this is on the heels of learning so much more in just the last little while about the back and forth. Were we going to strike Iran? Was that planned? So on and so forth, why it was pulled back. And then just moments ago, he was talking about the race down in Texas, that senatorial race between John Cornyn and Ken Paxton. Just recently, Cornyn had said, well, it looks like the president isn't going to endorse anybody. And of course, now we know the president is in fact going to endorse somebody. He says in the next short little while. So we're all over that. The president also today, and we don't know the timing yet, he didn't say it here, but he's getting ready to meet with his national security team. And one topic we know will be the war with Iran and the 42 days of a ceasefire that's barely holding. I'm Harris Faulkner. You're watching the Faulkner Focus. We got started with the president off the top. We'll move forward. Here's President Trump from the White House seconds ago.
What he was talking about?
They come to the table, they're begging to make a deal, because they're begging to make a deal. I hope we don't have to do the war, but we may have to give them another big hit. We may have to give them another big hit. I'm not sure yet. You'll know very soon. I'm in the middle of a negotiation. I'm saying you cannot have a nuclear weapon. And it comes over the wire that the Democrats want to stop Trump from further negotiations. They want to stop Trump from, if he has to, giving them another slap. They want to have a nuclear weapon to blow up the Middle East and to blow up, frankly, the world. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
The president announced earlier today that he postponed that planned attack on Iran that would have happened today. Retired U.S. Marine Corps Colonel Mike Jernigan will be with me in focus. Let's begin with Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst on the ground in Tel Aviv. And Trey, I understand the Middle East. Every country there pretty much was, on the brink of watching what would have been unfolding today. What is it like today? What's being said?
Stop playing.
Yeah, Harris, I can tell you officials here in the region are watching closely what President Trump just said from the White House, talking about the fact we may have to hit them again. And he laid out a timeline that is anywhere from 2 to 3 days into next week. What was interesting, though, the president talking about his red line for the regime, that has not changed following that announcement overnight on Truth Social, that he had planned to attack Iran today, but is holding off due to a request from Gulf leaders. That timeline remains the biggest question as the Israeli military remains on high alert, along with an ongoing U.S. military buildup across the region. President Trump indicated this is a temporary pause to see if an agreement can be reached.
You're gonna lose contact.
How close were you striking Iran?
I was an hour away. We were all set to go. You're talking about yesterday.
Yes.
We were going to be striking it would have been happening right now. Yeah, it was all done. The boats, the ships are all loaded. They're loaded to the brim. And we were all set to start.
Last time they had control of it.
An hour away from the decision, the president said there from Washington. This is the Iranians released new statements overnight with the country's president, Masoud Pezeshkian, saying dialogue does not mean surrender. And a senior Iranian official, Mohsen Razi, attacking President Trump on X, saying he sets a a deadline for a military attack and then cancels it himself with the false hope that he will surrender the Iranian nation and officials. The iron fist of the powerful armed forces and the great nation of Iran will force them to retreat and surrender. We're also getting new images from inside of Iran that show a nomadic Iranian tribe marching in Tehran and chanting "Death to America." Some held weapons as they listened to a speech in the capital city.
There is no point in negotiating with the aggressor, bloodthirsty and child-killing enemy. We just fight to eliminate the enemy from the Middle East, even from this planet.
Very threatening language from the Iranians as President Trump indicated from Washington the U.S. military is prepared if he gives new orders to strike Iran. Harris?
Look, Trey, you and I have had a lot of talk about the faiths and religions in that part of the world, and I'm curious, it is Hajj coming up in a few days. 2 to 3 million Muslims go to Saudi Arabia during that time. Is that perhaps any of the calculus going on about, quote unquote, another hit them?
It could be. There are a lot of calculations taking place behind the scenes, and I spoke with one regional source last night who was quiet as it relates to what comes next. There's an understanding that the Israelis and the Americans are sharing real-time intelligence to ensure that the moon is not out in a way that U.S. forces could operate, that air defense systems are located where they need to be, and that these refuelers are prepared to take off and support fighter jets that could be in the skies of Iran if President Trump orders these strikes. And so a lot of moving parts here, and the region really is bracing for the possibility that this war resumes in the days ahead.
Yeah, that
Harris?
would put a lot of people on the ground, where we know we've got support and we support them, like Saudi Arabia and other parts around the Middle East as well, if they do this, across our holiday, happens to be about the same time as Hajj. All right, thank you very much for setting us up for the first guest. And focus now, retired U.S. Marine Corps Colonel Mike Jernigan. He served as an Iraqi invasion commander, also a former lead strategist for U.S. Pacific Command and a Heritage Foundation visiting fellow. Great to see you today. Hearing the president just say the words, "We may have to hit them again," what does that mean militarily to you? What would that look like?
Yeah, militarily, good morning, Harris. Thanks again for good to see you.
Absolutely.
I think there's two things going on. There's military and there's economic, and the economics is having an enormous effect. And by the president coming out and saying, yeah, we were going to do it an hour from now, but now we're not, that adds additional pressure to the Iranians. Militarily, what this strike could look like is a variety of mechanisms. We could do the full Monty that you've seen before with all of the attacks and every night, every day, every minute. And we could have done that again 11 hours after the ceasefire was called. So it's important to remember that the president is using some rhetoric and diplomacy to give space for the Iranians to make good decisions. But we could do a full-on attack. We could do a land invasion. We could do an attack a night. We could do an attack an hour. We could just say that we're going to attack and then randomly attack once every 2 weeks. The uncertainty becomes a weapon in helping the Iranians, get to a good decision to give up their nuclear weapon ambitions.
Yeah, what about our weaponry and what's available? A lot of reporting recently about what we need to perhaps build back, put back into our arsenal. How does it look for such an attack stream the way that you laid it out?
Yeah, the Heritage Foundation did a report in January called Tidal Wave, where they examined munition and fuel expenditure, particularly in extended conflict with the People's Republic of China. And so in the long term, we are going to need to replace munitions. But in the short term, we have exactly what we need to do what we need to do in Iran.
All right, you mentioned China, and there's been a lot to say about that this week. I want to ask my team to pop up what we have. Since then, we heard some rhetoric from China's, I call them management over there, because sometimes they don't talk with one voice and sometimes they do. But President Trump also talked about China in relation to the Iran conflict when he was speaking just moments ago. Let's watch.
President Xi and I had really an amazing time. I think he'd say the same thing, but he promised that he's not sending any weapons. And if you think about it, he gets 40% of his oil. He's not sending oil boats in, tankers in with 20 destroyers alongside of him. No, he wants it. He does want it open, like me. I want it open, and we'll get it open.
So if China says it promises that it won't give weapons to Iran, do we trust them?
No.
No matter how many times the president
like
visits.
You said, Right. The PRC is being very careful right now in deliberately not endorsing Iran's claims for the Straits of Hormuz, but they're also not disagreeing with it because they're doing the same thing. The infamous 9-dash line in 2023 was quietly extended to a 10-dash line, now bordering Japanese Senkaku Islands in the north and including Malaysia in the south of the South China Sea. So the People's Republic of China has an interest in excessive territorial claims, and that's why they are not coming out against Iran's excessive territorial claims. Now, as for the PRC saying we won't send them weapons, part of that may be because all of their systems that were on the ships are at the bottom of the Arabian Gulf right now.
Right. And one last one for you, kind of adjacent topic. Iran reportedly activated its air defense systems on Qasem Island near the Strait of Hormuz last night, and state media are reporting the Revolutionary Guard heard explosions and saw drones flying. What do you make of it?
You know, there's several things to make of that. I think the interested parties in the region, United Arab Emirates comes to mind, Saudi Arabia comes to mind, Qatar, Bahrain, all of those have been attacked in this recent engagement with Iran. And 9 ports have been damaged, 6 liquid natural gas fields have been damaged. So it wouldn't surprise me if some of the locals in the area are starting to do some of their own attacks against Iran.
Interesting. Colonel Jernigan, always great to have you. Appreciate you being with me for the breaking news. Thank you. Well, moments ago, Vice President Vance wrapped up his turn at the White House podium today, filling in for Caroline Leavitt. As he joked about at the beginning, he said, when my next child is born, she's going to fill in as vice president for a few weeks. So it went close to an hour. During the course of this briefing, the big focus, of course, is the huge issue of the state of play when it comes to Tehran. President Trump says that he was, quote, an hour away from striking once again, re-beginning the strikes that have halted during the ceasefire largely, before Gulf nations asked him to take a pause and let negotiations continue to play out a little bit more. So here's the latest on this from the vice president moments ago.
We think the Iranians want to make a deal. The President of the United States has asked us to negotiate in good faith, and that's exactly what we've done. So we're in a pretty good spot here. There's an option B, and the option B is that we can start the military campaign to continue to prosecute the case, to continue to try to achieve America's objectives.
In a world of this or that,
America's objectives.
Okay, Bill Hemmer is on deck, but first to White House correspondent Aisha Hasni, who was in the room just moments ago asking questions. Hi, Aisha.
Hi there, Martha. And that response from J.D. Vance was to my question, asking whether this administration truly believes that Iran is serious about these negotiations, that it really, truly does want to make a deal. It has been 80 days, more than 80 days now since this conflict began. We have seen iterations of negotiations and meetings abroad. And Iran's president this week just spoke out saying dialogue does not mean surrender. So the question is Iran dragging this out? And I asked the vice president that in the briefing room. Watch. What is it about the Iranian side that you personally have seen where you believe that they are negotiating